Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about Full Immersion by Gemma Amor, and this is from Angry Robot Books. And this red spine throws me off. For the longest time after I bought it, I thought it was from Flame Tree Press because all of their spines are red spines. But when I picked it up to read it, I said, wait a minute, that's the Angry Robot logo. So Angry Robot is the publisher of Full Immersion by Gemma Amor. And I think I'm just going to read the back cover copy because this is a tough one for me to summarize. So, this is what it says on the back cover. What can you do when you're reeling from trauma, but you've tried it all? Counseling, yoga, pills, meditation, art, healthy living. None of it makes a dent. What's left? Magpie is out of ideas. She's desperate enough to try anything. Just when she thinks her life can get no worse, she discovers herself, or rather, her own dead body, partially buried in the mud bank of a river. A man stands by, a familiar stranger. What does he want? And why can't she remember getting here? Why can't she remember anything? Unbeknownst to her, two pairs of eyes watch from behind an observation screen in a room filled with computers and sensors. An experiment is unfolding, but is Magpie the subject or practitioner? Reality becomes a slippery concept, and beyond the glass is something worse still, a hint of an outline, shaped in darkness. Magpie realizes all too soon that her journey has transformed from healing to survival. She must become the hunter rather than the hunted, and her missing memories the prey. In turns brutal, beautiful, and absolutely terrifying, Full Immersion is the latest speculative horror from Gemma Amor. So there you go. That told me less than I thought it would. So, for the too long didn't watch crowd, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. No, you know what? I think I gave it 5 out of 5. I think I rated it about a 4.5 and bumped it up to 5 because it's really that good. So let's go with 5 out of 5 on Goodreads is what I gave Full Immersion. So Gemma Amor, just a great writer, and she builds the characters. This is I hate to use the term slow burn. I think I use it too much. And I'm not even sure that necessarily, well, it kind of applies. I mean, we get into what's going on pretty quickly, but then it builds kind of slowly. As this mystery is unfolding. And what we have, we start with a letter from a person. We don't know who it is, but it's sort of this desperate letter saying, I'm at my wit's end. Of course, we know, especially from reading the back, this is from Magpie. I'm at my wit's end. Please let me into your program. Then we cut immediately to you know what? I'm going to take a quick look and see. Yes, the very first thing we see after the letter is this observation room that's mentioned on the back. And then we go to Magpie walking along the streets, looking at this bridge. This is her favorite place to walk. Eventually finding her own dead body, meeting this familiar stranger. But the book jumps back and forth between the observation room and what's going on with Magpie. And I don't think this is a spoiler since it's in the first 10 pages. Magpie, which isn't her real name, don't know for sure, is part of this treatment, and she is in a virtual reality world. We're very, very quickly told that she's hanging from this wire and pulley system with a VR thing around her eyes, and tubes and wires and all sorts of stuff. And these two people, the boss and Evans, are monitoring, observing, reading things. And there's, again, we learn very early on, this familiar stranger is who the person that the observers are calling the psych. And they're essentially a psychologist that's put into this virtual reality world to help the patient. Whew. All right, there's a lot. That was a lot. So all of this front loaded essentially. And then we get into what's going on with Magpie in this virtual world. She's trying to recover her memories, but she doesn't. She doesn't know that she's in a virtual world or anything except that she's in this world, found her own dead body. What the hell's going on? And so the story gave me a little bit of a Philip K. Dick feel, because so much of Philip K. Dick's stuff has to do with what is reality, what is identity. And so this very much felt like that. It's not written like a Philip K. Dick story, just the general feeling of it dealing with reality. We know what the realities are, but do we? That's the question. And as this story of therapy, for lack of a better term, progresses, there are little tiny hints of horror that are slowly building up. And again, this is another mystery just for the reader. What the hell's going on? So Gemma Amor juggles these story elements quite well and infuses her characters, especially Magpie, with great amounts of emotion. We don't learn a lot about the observers, but we learn little bits of them, just enough to make them real people for us. There's a foreword in the book, and if you've ever followed Gemma Amor online, you'll know that she dealt with some serious postpartum depression. She talks about that in the foreword, and that's what led to this book. And I think knowing that, you can feel it. You can absolutely feel it in the book, and I think it infuses the character of Magpie with more power, more reality. It's a very tough book. There are some red herrings. I thought it was going to go a certain way. And there's some twists and turns. But an amazing story. I'm a huge fan of what I've read of Gemma Amor. I have more of her stuff that I haven't read yet. There's plenty that I don't even have yet. I just got her new one. This is from 20... Did it come out in 23? Nope, 2022. And I bought it as soon as it came out. But I just got around to reading it. Kaylee Dobbs of Happy Goat Horror picked it as her favorite book of 2023. She went with just the books she read in 2023. They didn't have to be published that year. But it's absolutely her hands down favorite book, which is why I bumped it up to the top of my TBR. And I don't think I liked it quite as much as her. If I had read it the year it came out, it wouldn't have. Well, it may have made my top 10, but it certainly would not have been my favorite. But it is fantastic, as I said. 5 out of 5 stars, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Just great characters, great writing, a great mystery. Because despite the letter that we read at the beginning, we don't know exactly what has led Magpie to this desperate situation. And lots of surprises, horror, builds up to an amazing climax at the end. I really, really like where it goes. But just a powerful, fast-paced might not be the right way to put it, but it was a page turner, certainly. I wanted to keep getting back to it as soon as I could. Get home from work, have some dinner, jump back into the book. So highly recommended. A fascinating, wonderful work. Possibly the best of Gemma Amor so far. But since I haven't read everything, I can't definitively state that. But definitely the best of all the great stuff that I have read from her. And there you go. I can't think of anything else to say. Full Immersion, Gemma Amor, Angry Robot Books, 4.5, 5 out of 5 stars. Fantastic. question for this video. How about, do you enjoy stories with differing realities and the potential of not knowing what's real and what isn't? For me, if it's written well, of course, that's always sort of the caveat for anything. I'm a fan of Philip K. Dick, and I enjoy the fact that his characters don't necessarily know, and the readers sometimes don't necessarily know what reality is. He's the best example I can think of it. Or think of. And off the top of my head, nothing else is coming to mind. I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff. I'm sure I've read plenty of other stuff. Just can't think of it. But it's, just the idea of identity. What is self? And what is reality? And how can we truly know what's real? And I suppose The Matrix, at least the first one, for the first part of the movie, falls into that category. But it's a fascinating subject. As a student of philosophy, of course, reality and things like that, and identity are just subjects that fascinate me. But what about you? Is this something that interests you? Do you have no interest whatsoever? You just want to read a good, rollicking story and don't care about deeper issues like reality and identity and things like that? Let me know what you think of that, if you've ever even considered it. And if you have read things in this vein or watched movies in this vein, what are your favorites? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is ErikSmith5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. And if you're on Blue Sky, I'm at EL Smith. That's all I've got. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Erik Smith, and until next time, read more books.